Hello everyone, I'm Michaela Kathleen, and in this video I'm going to be doing a Pixar tier ranking, and this is in place of my top 10 video for this month, although I will be back next month with one of my most exciting top 10 videos for me so far, and that will be my top 10 favorite Christmas movies. But jumping right into this Pixar movie tier ranking, I have a little bit different tier categories than usual. I usually use the Harry Potter OWL grading system for my tiers, but for this one I decided I wanted to start changing it up. So on the top tier we have the Pixar Golden Age. For me, there was a run in Pixar's early days of 4 movies that for me are just perfection. It is Pixar at its best. Although I will note that some movies outside of these 4 did make it into the Golden Age tier because they do reach that level. So then tier 2 is silver medal, tier 3 is mid-tier Pixar, tier 4 is not my favorite, and the bottom tier is Cars 3 because I think Cars 3 deserved a tier all its own. Although again, I do have other movies besides just Cars 3 in this tier. But jumping right into the actual ranking, I'm gonna go ahead and rank them just in order of release date, which means we're starting on kind of a controversial one, and that is Toy Story. Pretty much everyone I think would put Toy Story in the top tier of any Pixar tier ranking. It was the first computer animated movie ever. It was Pixar's first movie. It's obviously an incredibly popular classic for them, but this has never been my favorite Pixar movie. Though I do, of course, have to recognize that it was the first, and so I'm gonna put it in silver medal. I think Pixar had, a couple movies that they had to get through before they really, for me, got into the swing of things, got into their real top tier material. And so on that note, we have A Bug's Life. Now, I'm gonna admit I'm a little biased on this in that I really dislike bugs. And then also Ants came out at the same time, which I don't know if I even ever saw that movie, but I still always, I think, just weirdly have a bias against twin movies that come out at the same time. And so all that being said, I put Bug's Life in the Cars 3 tier. I never enjoyed this one very much. Haven't seen it since I was a kid. It's just not my cup of tea. Moving on to Toy Story 2. Think that this was an okay sequel, but I don't think it's as good as the first one, and Toy Story has never been my favorite Pixar franchise anyways, and so for me this one lands in not my fave. Next we have Monsters, Inc., and this is the start of the Pixar Golden Age. This movie for me is just perfection. It's so funny, such a fun concept. So great how they turn the concept on its head at the end of the movie. And after this, they just had home run after home run. So moving on, of course, the next movie, Finding Nemo, is also going to land in that Golden Age tier. But I liked it even better than Monsters, Inc. Finding Nemo is my all-time favorite Pixar movie. I remember seeing this one in theaters. This is one of my dad's favorite Pixar movies. It's so adventurous and such an interesting setting. I love so many of the characters. I love all the characters they meet along the way on their journey. And of course, I love Dory, as evidenced by my shirt. Next, continuing with Pixar's Golden Age, we have The Incredibles, which I'm gonna put here under Monsters, Inc., even though I do still love it. All of these are really neck and neck as some of my favorite movies, not just of Pixar, but of all time. And then finally, ending the Pixar Golden era was Cars, which is probably another controversial pick. I know not a lot of people really like the Cars franchise as a whole, but I always really loved it. I have no problem with the fact that they are cars. I know a lot of people are like, this makes no sense, but it's a kid's cartoon. It doesn't have to make sense. And the movie still has all of that Pixar heart that we love, and of course, all the comedy as well. So next we have Ratatouille, which brought to an end the Golden Age of Pixar. This one just didn't land for me really. I just truly did not care about it which was a pretty big disappointment considering their previous 4 movies before that. At this point in my life, I thought Pixar could do no wrong, and then Ratatouille came out, and I was like, oh, this is not great. Again, I know a lot of people love this one. Any Pixar movie is deserving of love, except maybe Cars 3. But for me personally, this one was a no, and it lands in that Cars 3 category. But luckily, Pixar brought it right back, renewed my faith in them immediately with Wally. Wally is just so cute. It's truly amazing how a movie with 0 dialogue in the first 20 minutes can be so entertaining. And even though this didn't bring it all the way back to the Golden Age for me, it did get a silver medal. Next, we have our very first one that is landing in the mid-tier Pixar, and that is Up. And I will admit, a lot of the reason that it's getting that mid-tier and not just not my fave is because of that opening sequence that is just so beautiful and so heartbreaking. And then also, I really like the short series Doug that is on Disney Plus right now. It's very funny and adorable. And so yeah, Up, I have not super strong feelings one way or the other. It's cute, it's nice, it's not disappointing, but also was not very exciting for me. Next, we have the first film outside of what I consider to be Pixar's Golden Age to get up to that Golden Age standard and land in that tier, even though it did not exist within Pixar's actual Golden Age, or what I consider to be their Golden Age in my mind. And that is Toy Story 3. I think Pixar is really good at doing third films, really good at like nicely connecting back to their first movie and making it super emotional. That big dramatic scene at the end of the movie where the toys are holding hands really is what pushed this movie over the top for me and made it that Golden Age level for me. And finally, not finally, because they've made more movies since this, but we have finally arrived at Cars. Oh no! Oh no. So, I just realized that I labeled the bottom tier Cars 3, and I meant Cars 2. You all knew what I meant. We all know what Cars 2 is. Okay, so rewind everything you've seen for the last, I don't even know, how long have we been filming? 12 minutes. And know that the bottom tier is Cars 2. Cars 3 is great. So we finally arrived at Cars 2, which is what the bottom tier is supposed to be named after, because it's terrible. We hate Cars 2. Cars 2 is a crime against Pixar. A crime by Pixar against Pixar. What was Pixar thinking? It's truly trash. I'll admit, Cars is like extended universe, all their little straight to DVD movies. The short films, they have some good short films, but they also have some really bad short films. The Cars universe as a whole is Pixar's messiest universe. And it all began with Cars 2. Let's be done with Cars 2. I can't even handle it anymore. It's the one Pixar movie I actively don't want my boyfriend to watch. I make him watch every other Pixar movie that exists. But anyways, moving on, as I said, from that, I hate it so much I couldn't even talk about it properly. And on to Brave, which, not my fave. That is the tier that that's in. I don't know why. It has such potential. I was really excited for this movie at the time. I thought it was going to be so good. And then it was just, I don't know. I can't put my finger on it, but it's just not my fave. So moving on, once again, I still can't believe I labeled the bottom tier Cars 3. The next movie on the list is Monstrous University. Sorry, I'm looking at the screen trying to keep track of where I'm at. I'm so befumbled from Cars 2, 3. Monsters University, the sequel we had all been waiting for, except not really because of Cars 2. This was much better than Cars 2. I think only seen it once in theaters. I really liked the end of the movie, the scene at the lake. That's what saved it for me, because otherwise it is kind of a silly, unnecessary movie. But the scene at the end, for me, brought it up to mid-tier Pixar, and that is all I have to say about that. And I did like it better than Up, I think mostly because of the nostalgia factor of it being the Monsters, Inc. prequel. But next we have Inside Out, which I saw this one at a drive-through, the one and only time I've been to a drive-in movie, not drive-through. And so that wasn't like the best, it wasn't like the best setup situation at the drive-in, which may have detracted from my watching experience. I think I've seen it one other time since then, because I do actually own this one, but it still just sort of ends up being not my fave. Like, it's okay, but it's not one that super stands out for me. But I did like it a little bit better than Brave, I think. And then after that we have The Good Dinosaur, which I feel like a lot of people would probably put this in the Cars 2 category. People really don't care for this movie. I thought it was kind of cute. I enjoyed it. I actually liked it better than Inside Out, so I put it in the not my fave category. Next we have Finding Dory. Again, I feel like a lot of people don't really like this one. I don't think they liked that the goofy side character got her own movie. This one gets a little bit silly, and so I don't think people liked that very much. But again, it's got that Pixar heart, which is my favorite thing about Pixar. And obviously Finding Nemo is my favorite Pixar movie of all time, and Dory is a big part of that, so I liked that the movie was about Dory. I did think it was nice to get to see her past, considering with her memory issues it was always so mysterious. Are there a lot of conveniences with her memory working and not working? Sure, I look past it. And so I really enjoyed this one, and for me it gets the silver medal. And also, I liked it better than Toy Story. But I did put it below Wally, because Wally's so cute. Okay, now we are on to Cars 3, which is very different than Cars 2, which is the worst Pixar movie ever. Cars 3, which is not the bottom tier category, in fact, belongs in the top tier category, Pixar's Golden Age. They really brought the story back down to earth. It read much more like a sequel to Cars than Cars 2 did. It brought back all the heart, and it just was beautiful from the very first teaser trailer. Like, I remember seeing the teaser trailer for this for the first time and gasping, and I was so happy because I knew just from that teaser trailer that we were getting the Cars sequel we deserved, which, if you don't remember this, the teaser trailer was literally just lightning crashing. This is not a spoiler since it was in the teaser trailer, crashing in the same way that his mentor had crashed oh so long ago. So yes, all the love for Cars 3 and all of the hate for Cars 2. Next we have Coco, which, much like A Bug's Life, this one kind of suffers a little bit from the whole twin movies coming out in the same year thing. The Book of Life also came out this year, and I'm pretty sure that's a Disney movie, so it seems extra weird to me that these two movies came out the same year. And again, I've never seen The Book of Life, but just knowing that they both existed, for some reason my mind was like, this is dumb. Which is not very fair to Coco. But yeah, this one, I think the first time I watched it, I really didn't care much for it, but then I did rewatch it with my boyfriend, and rewatching it with him, I did enjoy it a little more. And so I think this one for me just ends up very mid-tier Pixar. I put it above Up, and so it's right smack dab in the middle there. Next we have The Incredibles 2, which honestly, this one, I was excited for a sequel, obviously, but I don't think I was waiting as avidly for a sequel for this one as I was for Monsters, Inc. Although that, of course, ended up being a prequel, which is not what I asked for. But I still was really excited, and this was a really fun movie. I thought they did a great job with it. It was a good sequel. It was not Cars 2. And so, much like Finding Dory, I gave this one a silver medal, but I put it right below Finding Dory. Next, we have Toy Story 4. And I will tell you what, Toy Story, with the exception of the Cars 2 tier, really runs the entire length of the tier. Toy Story 4 for me was mid-tier Pixar. I felt it was a completely unnecessary sequel that did not need to exist, but it was a lot of fun, so mid-tier. But yeah, truly, Toy Story, silver medal. Toy Story 2, not my fave. Toy Story 3, Golden Age. Toy Story 4, mid-tier. Fingers crossed that Toy Story 5 does not land in the Cars 2 tier. Next, getting towards the end here, we have Onward, which is the only Pixar movie that's not in the proper Golden Age and is not a sequel that lands for me in the Golden Age tier. I love this one so much. This was another one that I knew just from the trailer and from hearing a little bit about the real life story of the directors that I was gonna love this one. I knew it was gonna be super emotional, tons of heart, and also I really liked the fairy tale setting situation. But yeah, this one is about two brothers whose dad died when they were very young, and they find a magic spell that he left behind that will bring him back for one day. And so they have to go on kind of an adventure to get this spell to work. But then also the directors in real life are brothers whose dad died when they were very young, and when they were older, they found a cassette tape with his voice on it, and that was kind of the inspiration behind the movie. And so that alone, I knew it was gonna be great, and it was. Next, we have Soul, and I would like to preface this with this movie didn't really get a fair viewing from me. I watched this with my dad and my boyfriend, and my dad talks so much during movies, and we were also drinking, and we watched half of it the night that we watched it, and then me and my boyfriend watched the other half alone the next morning. So I didn't really do a proper viewing on this movie, but I did not like this one at all. This one felt very kind of like high concept in the same way that Inside Out did, which Inside Out also didn't super land with me. But for that one, I at least understood the concept, and I felt like it was translated pretty well. It was just the movie itself that I was just kind of meh towards. Although I will say that one also got kind of the unfair first time viewing of being at a drive-in movie theater. So this also is clearly having an effect on how much I like these movies. But yeah, Soul, I just didn't really get the concept. I didn't think it made a whole lot of sense. I feel like they didn't explain the rules of the world very well. And so for me, this one lands in the Cars 2 category, because it was just one that I just did not click with at all. I did really like the cat. And finally, number 24 is Luca, which this one was so fun and so cute. My boyfriend liked this one better than Onward. I feel like it's they're not similar movies at all, but I don't know, for me, in my mind, I associate them closely, maybe just because they came out fairly close together, and they were both like really cute and sweet. So yeah, I really enjoyed this one, and I gave it the silver medal. I put it there right below Wally, just probably because Wally has a little bit more nostalgia factor. So yeah, that is my entire tier ranking for every Pixar movie. I wish I had not... I pre-prepare these tier rankings and for some reason put Cars 3 in that bottom tier, even though I meant Cars 2. But anyways, let me know down below where you feel some of these movies would fall, which ones you kind of agree with, and which ones you think I'm crazy on. I hope you enjoyed watching, and now on to the quote for today's video, which I just have a short one from Waldo Emerson. And it goes, "Do what you're afraid to do." Thanks for watching. Remember, words matter.